Hello, and thanks for taking the time to join us for this webinar. My name is Mark, and I'll be sharing today with you about RemoteWinBox, Admiral, and how we're helping customers and what's new with our service. So first off, RemoteWinBox is our shared cloud platform, and anyone with a MikroTik can simply go to RemoteWinBox.com, create a free account, click the activation link, and begin managing their routers in a few seconds by copying and pasting a simple script. Our dashboard has a user-friendly and intuitive interface with multiple layers of security, including two-factor randomized credentials, firewall hardening, and for as low as 50 cents per router per month, you'll have easy-to-use remote access that works through NAT and LTE and provides real-time health information. We've got another level of service that we call Premium, and that subscription is $2 per router per month and unlocks all of our features, to include automated backups, configuration management, disaster recovery, fleet firmware management, bulk configuration update tools, historical statistics, and more. We'll show all of this in a little bit. And keep in mind, there's no contracts, no long-term commitments, and your first router is on us. So you've heard me talk about RemoteWinBox and Admiral and use these words. So Admiral is our on-premise MikroTik fleet management solution. It has all the same benefits as RemoteWinBox, and it's an affordable solution for larger internet service providers and managed service providers who are looking to add secure automation and orchestration in their data center. It's a pre-configured turnkey 1U appliance that you install in your data center, or we could host it in our data center, and it's dedicated for your deployment. Admiral is an annual subscription, and the price varies depending on the size of the network and the number of your MikroTiks. The bulk annual pricing is a significant savings over the cloud for high volume. So one of the other benefits of having an Admiral is that our team of MikroTik experts and full stack developers can provide custom MikroTik software solutions. And that could be anything from custom reporting to IPTV diagnostics and troubleshooting tools for your MikroTik fleet. So in a moment, we'll take a look at the RemoteWinBox software, and we're going to pay special attention to what's new in the latest release. And that includes router historical data, updates to our fleet commander, and notifications for router status. I'll also share some of the customer stories that we've heard from our customers. So let's take a look here. And after logging in, you can see here's our main dashboard. And the newest piece here is right there on the bottom right of the screen under router health. If we click on that, it's going to take you to historical data for your routers. Again, on the right-hand menu, and this may look a little different if you're looking at it on your mobile device. We are mobile friendly, and it'll look good on regardless of the screen size. But if you're on full size, you'll have a right-hand menu there that shows up that allows you to pick which router you want to look at. And you can see we get a glance of what the day, week, and month historical data looks like for bandwidth, CPU, RAM, and disk. In addition, we had a customer request, hey, it'd be nice to know if this is the right router that I'm looking at, because I got a couple routers that are similarly named in the system, but I got one in one state and one in a different state. If you could show the map, I'd be able to tell that I'm on the right one. So we added that functionality here. In addition, you've got the quick heads-up display of what the most recent poll was for CPU, RAM, and disk, and we're polling the routers every 5 minutes. So next up, we updated Fleet Commander. And so if we take a look here, the largest updates are that at scale, Fleet Commander used to only allow to update 100 routers at a time, and now it's unlocked to update multiple thousands at a time. Another couple of items that we added to Fleet Commander to make it more useful are that we show whether the firmware is up to date, and then any warnings that might prevent Fleet Commander from running. So if you've got permissions issues that are reported on the main dashboard, you may or may not be able to run Fleet Commander commands. So for example, if we've got a read-only user, you may not be able to run any write command type style of Fleet Commanders. In addition, if SSH is disabled, and that's what you'll see over there in that warning. So if you hover on a warning, it'll give you more info about the warning that's there. In addition, we added the ability to save your Fleet Commander runs so that you can recall them later. So that if you're running certain tools periodically and often, you can jump back in here and quickly run another Fleet Commander without having to go and get that previously run command to copy and paste it back in here. We'll just save it for you. So you just put a name on that and then click that tick box that says, hey, I want to save this particular job, and we'll store it for you so you can run it again later. And then if you want to recall it, just click the drop down and it'll bring it up in the window. And you can edit it and save it as a new one too, so it'll continue to allow you to keep growing your command list. Next up is notifications. So we are now alerting on when the router status goes from online to offline and offline to online. And so if you want to enable notifications on your account, you head over to Profile, and this is per account. So if your company has multiple email addresses associated with it, each user would have to go in and say, hey, I want to get notifications. And this framework is there because in the future, we'll be adding more notification types to come from routers and more notification methods. So today it's just email, but in the future will be other use cases like text messaging, for example. So once you've turned notifications on by heading here to edit and then clicking the slider on or off, you can then get notifications for the routers that you've set notifications on or off for. So by default, none of your routers will notify. If you would like us to bulk notify all of your routers, just open a ticket and let us know. Send an email to support@remotewinbox.com. Otherwise, you can go in and say, hey, these routers are important to me. I want to know when they go online and offline. You can see there we click on the edit button for the router that we want to enable notifications for. And then there's just a slider there to turn it on or off. So if you've got a router that you don't want to get notifications on because he maybe flaps quite a bit, or you want to ignore him while he's on vacation, go ahead and turn that off. So I also wanted to share a little bit today with some of the use cases that we've heard from our customers. And so right here on the main dashboard, obviously you've got the historical bandwidth, CPU, RAM, disk as an aggregate for your whole network. This can be useful in kind of just seeing at a glance view, how's my network health look? The map has been useful for customers to be able to see if they're having real-time outages. We detect outages within 1 minute for online, offline status. So if you're looking at that map, you see a portion of the network go red, it's a good indicator that some trouble has occurred. So other use cases that we've heard, if we head over to Fleet Commander, we've seen that one of the most popular use cases here has been sending LTE commands so that you can update the modem a bit and say, hey, this feature set is being disabled, so we need to update to a newer feature set, send some AT commands to the modem. Fleet Commander is very useful for being able to update LTE fleet in one shot instead of having to go into each one of them one at a time and take a look at that. Another use case comes from our backup manager. What we've heard from customers there is that, hey, I'm having an outage, something bad's going on the network. And you can quickly come in here, create a new backup right now, and then do view backups. And you can easily compare the now backup to what it was last week. And you can see what's changed. And that can be super useful for a situation where someone has made a change. In this case, we had a stuck safe mode that was triggered for this individual customer, and they needed to put in the commands that had been entered since the safe mode was taken, and then that safe mode got stuck, and then they lost everything during a maintenance window when the router rebooted. So with this, they were easily able to come in, check out what the config was last week to today, and then copy and paste in the configs that were missing from them into today. I'm gonna grab the screen share back here. And so that wraps up the webinar for today. I appreciate you taking the time to attend with us live or on YouTube. And at this point, what we'd like to do is open up for questions. So if you have any questions, go ahead and type in the chat window and say, hey, I'd like to know something about this. So I'll start here with one that we thought might be useful to know, and that's how long will it take to get a notification alert. So our online-offline detection system usually notifies within a few seconds, unlike some other competitors that take 5 or 10 minutes to kind of wait to see how things are going. We're actually looking at the health of the router in real time. And so if it notifies us immediately, we notify you immediately. And if that ever gets out of sync, there's also an audit process that runs once a minute, and that will also sync up and say, hey, we might have missed one message or something on an online or offline detection. So within a minute, we'll definitely detect it on the other side of that. And let's take a look here. So another question is here, with the first free trial router, are all the features available? That's a great question. So you'll notice that in your profile, you can sign up for the premium account. And when you sign up for premium, it's going to ask you to enter a credit card number. We'll enter a credit card number, and with your first router, we'll bill you $0, but having your credit card number in there is what unlocks the full access to all features. And so then routers number 2 through however many you go through will give you charged at the premium rate. But yeah, for the trial, it's unlocked for everything as long as there's a credit card in it. So I see when I have permissions issues, how do I fix them? So yeah, so if you see that there's permissions issues, either on that main dashboard, you may have got a little icon. There's a couple of different kinds of permissions issues. So those could be related to a couple of different places in WinBox to fix them. So if the permissions issue is that API is disabled, for example, in that case, a lot of our dashboard won't work, but you probably can still WinBox in. When that happens, you can just go to IP service API and then change it from being disabled to enabled. Or if you look and see that there's an address list there, what we call an access list, you can add the IP address on the other end of the tunnel to that address list, which means that you can go to IP address, open up the RemoteWinBox interface, and look at what the network ID is, and then add that. If you have any trouble with that, don't be afraid to reach out to us, support@RemoteWinBox.com, send us an email, and we can assist you. In addition, other types of permissions issues could be that SSH is disabled. Same thing applies. Look in IP services, check out whether there's an address list there and if the service is actually disabled or not. Another one can be firewall related. So one of the default firewall rules that comes on a MikroTik is what we call chain input connection state of established and related, and then the action is to accept. So if that one's missing, your router can send traffic out, but return traffic that's related to it won't be allowed back in. So if that one's missing, we've seen that one cause some trouble with our service also. I think that mostly covers most of the permissions issues. If there's a different permissions issue that shows up, the tooltip will help you understand what it is that's troublesome, and will help you get an idea of what you should do to fix it. And again, if you can't get that resolved on your own, just let us know, support@RemoteWinBox.com. Well, hey everyone, I appreciate you taking the time to join us today, and I hope you enjoy using our service, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks a lot.